What is going on, world? Another beauty day in London, Ontario. Nice little bit of snow hit London yesterday. I know my windows are nasty as hell. They're all dirty. I live on the first floor. That's the parking lot, so it all sprays on the door there. But I am the Hungarian experiment. Welcome to a full day of intermittent fasting. I stopped eating last night right around midnight. It was a late eating window because today is a situational day. I have to do a photo shoot for these t-shirts I have coming out, so I didn't want to look really drained and empty. I wanted to look full today, and I wanted to fit these shirts a little nicer than I did on a day of fasting for 18 to 20 hours. I am only about 12 and a half hours fasted. You guys missed my morning experiments for today, but I'm headed off to the gym for a weak point workout, so let's go. Today is gonna be a snapping day, so let's get to the Jeep. Oh man. Snapping is so much better than walking. I'm never walking ever again. Also, how obnoxious are these sunglasses? I feel like riffraff or something. Yeah, that's better. I like these. Off to the gym. Oh man, I am loving this snapping thing. Deadlift's all set up, ready to go. I'm nice and warmed up. Let's get this. So one thing that's been bugging me lately is this whole talk about privilege. I saw a little comic post up on Facebook there, and it compared the lives of two people. One guy had a more privileged life, you know, his parents had decent jobs, so they were able to be at home more often, able to help him with homework more, while the other person, their parents still loved that person just as much, but their parents had to work, so they sat at home and cleaned and cooked while their parents were gone. no matter what instance you look at life, one person is going to be more privileged than another person. Everyone here in North America has running water coming out of their taps, where over in Africa, a large percentage of that population doesn't have any form of running water. So where are you going to draw this line at who has more privilege over others? Are we going to stop looking at the great ideas that Charles Darwin, Leonardo da Vinci, Abraham Lincoln, all these great white men who were privileged from the past? Are we just going to not listen to their ideas and their theories on life now because they had more privilege than some other people? This is like the whole fight against gender equality and racism. If black people don't care about the N-word and they're not offended by it, then why is a white person or a person of another color offended by the N-word? If you are a woman and you are not a cunt, then why would you care if I call you a cunt? If you get offended by me calling you a cunt, then maybe you are a cunt. But in this same way, I know that there's many people who could say that I am more privileged than some other people, that I had a lot easier of a life than some other people. But if you want to analyze my life compared to the people that I grew up around and I had to deal with in my life, a lot of people, I'd say a good 70 to 75% of people were a lot more privileged than I was. But that is all your view. That is all your opinion on life. So when you say someone is more privileged than someone else, you're fighting a losing battle. You are basically just pouring vocal diarrhea out of your mouth. Why? Because no one cares, because you're comparing one person to another. All you can do is be the best that you can be with the life factors and the life situation that you've been given. All you can do is improve from there and make yourself a more optimal or a better human being for humanity. But if you're focused on privilege, if you're focused on how the person beside you had a better life or a better deal than you did from birth, then of course your life is going to be shit. Because you're more worried about that other person, how privileged they were compared to you. But it's all in your head. If you don't care about the privilege that you have been given, or if you look at it like, this is not privilege, this is the life situation and the life factors that I have been given, and all I can do is take that out into the world, make myself a better person to help humanity, then there's no need to worry about privilege and bullshit. There's no need to worry about racism and feminism, because if you are a proud woman, if you are a proud black man or a proud Asian man, then you don't care about the limitations that are upheld by society and put onto you. So if you're a strong female, then go out and be that. But if you started going, oh, I didn't get as many good things in life because I was a woman, then of course your children are gonna see that and hear that. And they can try to be better, but if they don't see you being better, they just hear you crying, complaining about the privilege you didn't get, or the deals you didn't get because you were a woman or because you were a black man, then of course your children are gonna carry on that same idealism in their heads. So of course, if you hold those ideas in your head and you talk about them freely, then they're gonna get passed down to your children and they're gonna hold those same ideas. They're gonna either try to make the world better, or they're gonna say, look, I can't do anything else because I didn't have that privilege, or I can't do anything better than myself because I'm just a woman, or I'm just a black man or an Asian man, or fill in the blank. You have to be better for yourself. Stop worrying about privilege. Be better than that. It's like getting mad at a tree for growing crooked. Like, go ahead and be mad at the tree, but that's not going to make a difference. Factors that grew that tree crooked already took effect. All you can do as an individual is to help support young trees from growing crooked in the first place by supporting them through their life factors. Be proud of your life situation and show others that your life factors didn't stop you from growing strong. But just mentioning it won't make a difference. Explaining to the tree won't help it grow straighter. But you, as an individual, taking action, Wrapping ropes and supports around these trees are going to inspire younger generations to do better and to ask questions. But if you just get mad and perpetuate ideas of unfairness, then of course the next generations will believe the same. So basically all you are doing is yelling at a crooked tree. Photo shoot time. En route to the next location. Like that, hopefully it's gonna work out. Oh, it's fucking cold. All right, here we are on scene of the first photo shoot. I'm here with my good buddy Joey DiLoretto. He is a upcoming photographer here in London, so if you guys need any work done, go check out his Instagram. I'll link it in the description box below. He's looking for some work, so if anyone here in London is looking to get some photo shoots done or some video done, go hit up this guy. So I'm all snapped out for the day, but I'm at home getting my 20 minutes of reading in, finishing my second run through of Sex at Dawn. And I actually just picked up this book a few days ago and I read the preface, and honestly this book sounds really amazing. I want to read you a little section out of this book here. So we're starting right here. How was Leonardo's brain organized? What extraordinary neuroconfiguration did he possess that allowed him to attain his singular place in history? To solve this mystery, I must pursue two entirely different stories. One story will be about the life and works of Leonardo, and the other will be about the evolution of brains. This two-strand braid will make up roughly the first two-thirds of the book, creating the foundation for the third part of the book, which will explore the effect of brain organization on creativity and suggest new directions toward which the human species is evolving. An exposition of the environmental pressures that cause the human brain to evolve so differently from the brains of other mammals leads to a discussion of the unique human arrangement of a split brain, with each hemisphere assigned different functions. The ratio of right hand to left hand brain dominant individuals compared to left hand right brain dominance is 90%, a percentage that has remained stable throughout history and across differing cultures. If being right-handed was such an advantage for humans, why are not all humans right-handed? Or alternatively, why not a 50-50 ratio? What was the evolutionary advantage of a dominant cerebral hemisphere in the first place? Why not the ambidextrous model used with great success by the majority of other animals? The right brain, in right-handers, best processes information that is for the most part emotional and spatial. The left brain in right-handers processes information that is primarily rule-driven and temporal. Similar to the Chinese yin-yang symbol, each major side contains within its core a small essence of its opposite. When discussing the brain, distinctions are never black and white. There is considerable crossover in function. Not all language centers are in the left brain, and not all spatial judgments are processed in the right brain. Nevertheless, our present and past can be better understood if we examine human history using this dualistic model. The right and left brain functions are commonly associated with the dualities of masculine, feminine, active, passive, particular, general, focused, holistic, and rational, intuitive. The arrangement of a masculine side of the brain and a feminine side promotes a psychic hermaphrodism in both men and women, making the human sexes unlike any other species. Every man has an animus and an anima, just as every woman has an anima and an animus. I will apply this understanding of how human brains are organized to speculate on the design of Leonardo's brain. Now, what I find most interesting is this part is where he's discussing how each of his past books led him to writing this book. And this is where I'm going to start right here. My next book had a similar right-left brain theme. The alphabet versus the goddess. The conflict between word and image examined what happened to gender relations when cultures discovered writing.
particularly the alphabet. Every ancient culture worshipped goddesses. Then, the three monotheistic religions came into being: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, each founded on a sacred alphabetic book and each denying the existence of goddesses. I wanted to understand what event in culture could have been so pervasive that it changed the sex of God. I concluded that learning how to read and write an alphabet reconfigured the brain, bolstering the dominance of the left hemisphere. Reading and writing, unlike speaking and listening, are primarily left hemispheric tasks. Whenever writing appears, women's rights suffer. Image information becomes an abomination and goddesses disappear. Whenever images regain prominence in the culture over written words, as they did in the Dark Ages, the goddess Mary makes a comeback. The Protestant Reformation, coincident with the sharp rise in literacy in the Renaissance, devalued the divinity of Mary. Consequently, women's rights suffered. Now, as our culture becomes more image-based, women are making incredible advances.
When I look at society and I hear things like, as I discussed earlier, with privilege and with feminism and racism, this is all society programming us and telling us what to do. And that's why I'm so excited to read this book, because from the preface of this book and that other book now that I want to read by this same author, Leonard Schlein, learning an alphabet and us manipulating the way we used to live from our ancestors, it is what is dictating our decisions and choices in life. So as he said there, the idea of learning an alphabet and having to learn information and physically read it and then store it in our brain makes us focus on another section of our brain which devalues the other section. It forces us to be right-handed or left-handed because we are forced to use one side of our brain to do a lot of our thinking and a lot of our thought processing. So as we're growing up through childhood, if we're focused on reading and learning an alphabet, which, don't get me wrong, it's a great thing to be literate, but we need to consider what we're changing from our ancestral past. Our ancestors didn't focus on learning an alphabet. Everything was image-based. But now that we have an alphabet, we have to consider what that is doing to our brains and how that's making us think differently from our ancestors. In the same way, our generation, one thing that I'm seeing for myself, because I have computers and I've been using computers ever since I was a young child, is that I lean forward. A lot of our generation is hunched forward. Our shoulders are forward because we're so used to typing on a keyboard like this. We actually need to do exercises and physical activity that opens us up here. Another thing that I noticed from our generation, and something that I've been trying to change on my own body over these last 2 years, is my posture and how I walk. When I see some kids at the gym, some younger people, or even people my age, they walk with a heavy emphasis on their toes. Next time you're out and about, watch the different generations and watch just how they walk. One thing that I've noticed is that a lot of the older generations, they walk with a lot better posture. They're walking on their heels and the balls of their feet rather than walking forward. I watch a lot of people walk on their toes and walk with their heels not even touching the ground. And after I started noticing others do that and I started watching myself on film, I was like, holy crap, this is what I'm doing with my body. Now, it's not a bad thing that I have a computer because it's opened my mind to so much more information that I would have never been able to learn before. But I have to consider how leaning over, hunched over a keyboard is affecting my body and is changing my body from its ancestral past. We have to consider everything in our modern day society and how it is affecting our bodies and our minds, because this is what's dictating how we act out in public and out in the world. So I'm very excited to read this book once I'm done Sex at Dawn, and as I've been doing there with Sex at Dawn, I'll be posting up pages from this great resource so you guys can see what a great resource it is, and you guys can consider if you want to go pick it up for yourselves.